I stared at the text message on my wife's phone, the screen glowing like a betrayal in the dim kitchen light. Can't wait to feel you again. Same hotel. It was from a number labeled yoga instructor. My heart slammed against my ribs, but I set the phone down, pretending I hadn't seen it when she walked in, humming like everything was normal. That was the crack. The first fracture in our 10-year marriage that I'd been ignoring for months. Sarah and I had met in college, two dreamers chasing the American dream. She was the vibrant artist with wild curls and a laugh that could light up a room. I was the steady engineer, building bridges in more ways than one. We'd built a life together. A cozy house in the suburbs, 2 kids, Emma, 8 and little Max, 5, and weekends filled with soccer games and family barbecues. But lately something had shifted. Sarah seemed distant, her eyes glazing over during dinner conversations, her phone buzzing more than ever. It started innocently enough. One night, after the kids were in bed, she poured us wine and sat me down on the couch. "Jake," she said, her voice soft but edged with something I couldn't place. "What if we open things up? Explored a bit? We're still young. It could spice things up." I laughed it off at first, thinking it was a joke. But her eyes were serious, pleading almost. "I'm not unhappy," she added quickly, squeezing my hand. "I just missed the excitement." I felt a pang in my chest, like she'd punched a hole through our vows. Denial kicked in hard. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was boring, buried in work emails while she painted and dreamed. I suggested couples therapy instead, but she waved it away. "It's not about us being broken. It's about freedom." We argued that night, voices low to not wake the kids. Freedom from what? I snapped. "From me." She sighed, tears welling. "No, from routine. From feeling trapped." The seed of suspicion planted itself deep. I started noticing things. Her girls' nights stretching later, the new lingerie I hadn't seen her wear for me, the way she'd angle her phone away when texting. I'd lie awake, her breathing even beside me, wondering if I was paranoid. Heartbreak whispered in the quiet hours. Was I losing her? But anger simmered too, hot and unspoken. How could she suggest this if she truly loved me? Weeks blurred into a haze of forced normalcy. I threw myself into fatherhood, coaching Emma's team, building forts with Max. Sarah seemed happier, oddly, her smiles brighter during the day. But at night, she'd slip away to meditate in the guest room, phone in hand. One evening after she'd left for another yoga class, I couldn't shake the itch. The kids were with my parents, so I paced the house, trust crumbling like old plaster. I grabbed her laptop from the study, password unchanged, a small mercy or oversight. Emails first. Nothing but work stuff from her gallery job. Then her browser history. Searches for open relationship rules, how to tell your partner, and buried deeper, hotel bookings. My stomach twisted. One receipt for a room downtown, 2 weeks ago, the same night she'd said she was at book club. But it was the Messages app that gutted me. Synced from her phone, threads with Mark, the yoga instructor. Flirty at first. "Your class was intense today," winking face. Then escalating. "Last night was amazing." When again? Photos exchanged. Nothing explicit, but intimate. Her in a sundress I recognized, his arm around her waist. Dates lined up with her absences. She'd been cheating for months, using the open marriage talk as a smokescreen. Suspicion turned to rage, but denial clung on. Maybe it was emotional, not physical. I slammed the laptop shut, breath ragged. That night, when she came home smelling of unfamiliar cologne, I said nothing. "Good class?" I asked, voice steady. She nodded, kissing my cheek. Exhausting but good. The lie hung between us like smoke. The real unraveling came a week later. I'd been feeling off, fatigue, a rash I chalked up to stress. On a whim, I scheduled a full physical, including an STD panel. The results call came while I was at work. Positive for chlamydia. The doctor said matter-of-factly, "You'll need antibiotics. Inform any partners." Partners? I'd been faithful our entire marriage. The world tilted. Sarah had given me an STD. Betrayal solidified into heartbreak, a raw ache that made my vision blur. I confronted her that evening, kids at a sleepover to spare them. "What's this?" I thrust the test results at her. She paled, sinking onto the couch. Jacob. Tears streamed down her face. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Like what? You cheating behind my back while floating the idea of an open marriage to ease your guilt. My voice cracked, anger boiling over. How long, Sarah? With who? She confessed in sobs. Mark, for 6 months. It started as a flirtation, escalated during a retreat. I was going to tell you, she whispered. The open thing. I thought it could make it okay. I love you, but I needed more. Needed more. I echoed, disbelief mixing with fury. We have a family. You risked everything. Our health, our kids, for what? Excitement. She reached for me, but I pulled away, trust shattered beyond repair. I felt invisible, she said softly. You were always working. Mark saw me. Her words stung because they held a kernel of truth. I'd been distant too, wrapped in my career. But that didn't justify her lies. We screamed, we cried, the house echoing with 10 years of unspoken resentments. By dawn, exhaustion won. I want a divorce, I said, the words tasting like ash. The process was a blur of lawyers, custody battles, and hollow apologies. Sarah moved out, taking half the life we'd built. The kids shuttled between homes, their confusion a knife in my gut. Emma asked why Mommy left. Max drew pictures of us all together, oblivious to the fracture. In the end, I stood in our empty house, now mine, packing her last boxes. Heartbreak had evolved into a quiet resolve. I'd loved her deeply, flaws and all, but trust once broken couldn't be glued back. As I signed the papers, a weight lifted, mingled with sorrow. Life would rebuild, scar tissue stronger. Sarah texted months later. I'm sorry. I miss us. I didn't reply. Closure came in moving forward, dating again, therapy sessions unpacking the pain. Betrayal taught me vigilance, but also forgiveness, if only for my sake. Our story ended not in flames, but in the slow fade of what was, leaving room for what could be. And in that reflection, I found peace.